Okay, so self-inquiry. And as you guys are listening to me, when I'm talking, really I'm talking practically. So self-inquiry is the thing. Okay, here's the thing. Is one's true nature, even though this is a bit analytical, is one's true nature, can what one is right now in this moment be something that can be seen to come and go? You know? So all kinds of things in this world are what are called transitory changing phenomena. Transitory changing phenomena. It's like something is here which is always here, and before it everything passes and changes, but it will never pass. And the word for that is eternal. You know, there is one constant which is always constant, and it's not a thing that can fluctuate or change, or it's like it has a variation or a changing quality to it. You know, the metaphors are, for example, if one was watching the clouds in the sky, then even though black clouds can pass by, white clouds can pass by, there can be no clouds, but it's something that passes and changes. So is there something which is always here, which even though things are changing and passing, it is unchanging and unpassing, and is always eternally present? Now, this is the basis of our exploration into what is the nature, what is our true self, what is my authentic self, what is my self, or what you could say even, what is my God self, what is the absolute? You know, there's the changing and the transitory, but is there an experience of self which is unchanging, untransitory? Is my true nature a cloud that comes and goes, or is my true nature something beyond? And if I can discover my true nature, what will be the meaning of those things which are now used to be changing and transitory? So self-inquiry is not an intellectual process. For those, you know, it bears repeating. If you try and work it out with your thinking, what we're about to do, you will just be in your thoughts again. So here's the thing. Even though it looks like I'm talking to your analytical mind to try and understand and interpret what I'm doing, I'm actually not. So you want to sort of almost like intuitively get what I mean. It's like, okay, there are clouds that pass by. For example, clouds can be like thoughts. You know, thoughts just pass by. Now, if you try and think about it, you'll still be in your thinking, in your thoughts. So that which observes the clouds pass by, you know, a cloud can't work out what is observing a cloud. So it's like suddenly there's the experience that there is actually a detached observing of clouds passing by, which is not a cloud. Its nature is not a cloud. And when this detached observing of the passing clouds or passing thoughts occurs, then it's recognized one's essence is beyond thought. Now that's the thing with thoughts. But what about feelings? What about fear? Well, fear also is like a cloud. It's like one moment there isn't fear, and then suddenly it starts to come into the screenshot, if you like, observed coming in. Then it's very, very loud, and then it fades away. So it's something that changes in quality. It's soft, it's not there, then it's coming, then it's intense, then it's drifting away, and then it's gone. So is one fear, or is there something which actually is, if you like, watching or observing? Or is there a presence that sees the fear come and go, but is actually totally not attached to it? Now again, that was, so if, for example, you're listening and there's fear, rather than think about is there an observer, or try to make a visualization of is there an observer, is there something which is actually observing the emotion? Now here's the thing as well around the body. Now the body and feeling the body and experiencing aches and pains and various stiffnesses in the body or feelings in the body. Now, are these things transitory? I.e., they come in and out, they change and they pass? And if they are, then is there an observer of these, which is actually totally detached from anything that's going on in the body? So that's something as well to explore. We'll be doing a 5-minute practice session soon. But even if there's, like, let's say there's a little ache in the back. Well, is there, it's okay if it's there, but is there a detached observing of the ache, which is not the ache, which is like silently watching this? And rather than being in the pain, can it be that one is the observer of the pain? So it's almost like one is no longer the pain, but now one is just watching it. It's like there's this detachment and seeing that the pain is not oneself, but one is actually the seer, the detached seer of pain. Now also the thing as well, let's say you feel very constricted in the body. You're feeling very, very tight in your skin or something. Well, that's again location, an area. But let's say, like this mug is like a location and an area, you see. Now for everyone this is quite easy to see. There's detached observing. One is not the mug. There is that very clear space, and there's this detached observing of the mug. It's definitely not what one is. But if one is like feeling tight around the body, is there a detached observing of this tight area? And then as you go to this detached observing, is this detached observing, is this tight, or is it totally free of that constriction that it's watching? So those are things. So we've got things like thoughts, is to do the self-inquiry, which is not a mental process. So it's like switching off being hooked into thoughts and seeing, is there a detached witnessing? And then we've got things like aches and pains in the body. Is there like a detached observing of aches? Or it could be like a feeling of the location of the body. But is something actually watching location? And is that's observing location beyond location, or is it in location? So check that out. If you get to an observing which is interested, seems to be enmeshed, like you might go to the observer of a pain in the body, but it seems to be like leaking. The pain and the observer seems to be a little bit stuck together. So that's what I call an interested or enmeshed observer. But then, bless you, bless you. If it's an enmeshed observer, is there another detached observer that's watching the enmeshed observer, which is totally uninterested in the enmeshed observer? So can you totally detach? And in this place, is there any type of limitation? If there is a type of limitation when you get into these observing or witnessing fields, then if it's limited by pain or feeling or distance or limits, then be aware of that limit and see if something's observing that limit. Also, time is another aspect. If time, it seems like something is counting time or tracking. Oh, I think this has been 10 seconds already. Well, you become aware of that. That's what I call a very subtle thing going on within the consciousness. See if something is here that is watching this subtleness, but is not interested in time. So when I do these things like time disappears, things like distance disappears, little stuck sensations, all of these things start to disappear as you gradually unhook from everything, and then see what and get as far as you can to within the 5 minutes, and then we'll have some feedback and go.